teaching reading group, and welcome to the start of another semester. My name is Dr. Beth Sherman, and I'm going to be your professor for the course. And to start us off, I wanted to give you some information about myself, about the course, and about what you can expect in terms of the way that the course is set up. So first, a little bit about me. As I said, my name is Dr. Beth Sherman, and I returned as a professor to Olivet in 2006, so I've been teaching here for quite a while. I did do my undergrad at Olivet and then taught high school English out at Manteno before returning as a professor. My background at the bachelor's, master's, and PhD level is in English education, which is what allows me to teach this literacy course. And then I also teach several of our English education courses and am the chair of the Department of English here at Olivet. So for the reading class, for those of you who are English education, maybe history education, for some of your content areas, you may have seen that you had to take a reading class, and that may have made sense since those are fields where literacy instruction is a little bit more traditional. For those of you who are in subject areas such as math, music, Spanish, you may have wondered, PE, that's another one. You may have wondered, what does literacy have to do with me? And that's a question that we are going to continue to explore. But to kind of put it simply, the purpose of the course is to help you teach your students how to engage with text. So whatever that text is, for those of you who are in math, that may be thinking about numbers and numeracy. For those of you who are in PE, you may think, okay, well, what kinds of text are students going to be reading in PE? And then also for health, since you'll be licensed in health. For music, that may be music notes, but we are going to be coming up with strategies, learning strategies for helping students to engage with text. So any kind of text that you are putting in front of your students, what do you do before you put a text, whether that's an electronic text, a print text, a non-traditional text? What do we do before we put text in front of students? What do we do to help students while they're engaging with that text, and then after have read the text, to help them make meaning of the text, help them to apply it to their lives, and be thinking about what literacy is in complex ways. Literacy used to always be, reading, writing, speaking, listening, but now that's a lot more complex. What does it mean to be a literate person in your field today? And then how are you going to help students to help to build those literacy skills? So the way that the course is set up is you'll see that I have the course set up by each week. And one thing to mention about that is the first week, technically, we're not going to start until next week because this week is just an introductory week. And so you won't have, other than those of you who are doing the online version of the class, you guys will be doing an introductory post. Those of you who I will be seeing face-to-face this week, we're going to be doing some introductory things. I'm going to be talking to you about some of these same things in terms of the course. But this first week is essentially an introductory week. And then next week is when you're going to start on the content for week one. And the reason I've done it that way is because I want the discussion forum for those of you who are online, and each of the assignments, like week one assignment will be completed during week one, week two, so on and so forth, so that you aren't doing assignment one during week two of the course. So I'm hoping that makes sense. I'll reiterate that to those of you who I'll see face-to-face, but the content for week one will actually start next week. So for each week of the course, you will see that you'll click on the icon for that week, and that will bring you to what you're going to be working on for each week. And so for example, looking at week one, you'll see that there's an introduction to the topic for the week. You'll see that there's the weekly learning outcomes. And then where it says learning resources, this is what you all will be reading. For those of you who are doing the face-to-face version of the class, this is what you need to be reading before Monday's class period each week. So you will have already read, viewed, reviewed, whatever it says under learning resources before you come to the first class period that week, which is usually Monday morning at 9. For those of you who are doing the online version of the class, you will want to have read, viewed, whatever else. I can show you another example so you can see that it's not just read and view. But you will want to do that before you participate in the discussion forum And those are due, the first one is due every Thursday by midnight, well, 11:59 p.m. And then your responses are always due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. But you will be expected to have read, viewed, done everything under learning resources before you either come to class or before you participate in the discussion forum, because that is our content for each week. You'll notice what we are not going to do in class is to just like regurgitate what you guys have already read for class. We will always spend class time, for those of you face-to-face. We are going to be engaging in discussion about the content, not just me retelling you what you would have already read. So come to class prepared, ready to discuss what you have read. And then underneath the learning resources, like I said, sometimes it's viewing things. And you'll notice too, as the weeks go on, that I often have, this is a TED Talk, but I often have things like lesson plans that you may be reviewing, quite a few videos, so that you're going to read about a specific strategy, and then the video will help you to see, well, what might this look like in an actual classroom? But so these are not just text, and then these are from your textbook, like Beers Chapter 1, Hinchman Chapter 6, for those of you who are reading out of the traditional text. I'll talk a little bit more about those of you who are math or music in a little bit, because you guys are going to be, the reading portion will be out of a different textbook, but then you will still view or review any extra resources that I post. You will still look at those as well. It's just the reading portion that will be different because you have a different textbook. So then after you complete whatever the reading, viewing is for each week, you will notice that for every week, for the first 10 weeks of the course, that they will look very similar. So for those of you guys who are doing the face-to-face version of the class, on Mondays we will always be discussing, possibly doing an activity, and then every Wednesday in class you guys will be completing an assignment that will ask you to apply the ideas for the week. So for those of you who are face-to-face, where it says apply your understanding of, in this case it's text complexity and reading strategies by completing this assignment, you will be completing that during our class period on Wednesday. So there's no need to do that ahead of time. I'll mention that again when I see you guys face-to-face, but that's something that you will have class time to complete. That's the way that it works. We discuss the ideas and then we apply the ideas for each of the different topics for the course for the first 10 weeks. I'll talk about the last bit of the course in just a minute. Those of you who are doing the online version of the class, as I mentioned, you guys will be participating in the discussion electronically. The initial responses are always due by 11:59 on Thursdays. The responses are due by 11:59 p.m. on Sundays, and then you'll see that the topics that you'll be discussing, there'll be prompts that you guys are going to be responding to. Make sure that you're engaging with the course text. But you will be participating in the discussion electronically. Those of you who are doing the online version of the course, you guys then will complete the assignment, just like the students who are doing the class face-to-face, but then you'll just work on that on your own, and the assignments are always due by 11:59 at the end of each week. So you'll see that the first assignment is linked here, and I'll be providing more information about that first assignment and talking a little bit more about that first topic, which I'll do every week in a weekly video. That those of you who are taking the class face-to-face are welcome to watch, and then those of you who are taking the class electronically, please make sure that you watch those videos, because I'll give you some background information on the topic that we'll be covering for each week. So that's the way that the course is set up. As I mentioned, I said that that's the way that the class operates for the first 10 weeks. So weeks 1 through 10, it's going to be the same thing, where we read, we discuss, we apply each of the different strategies. Then the last few weeks, the last 4 weeks of the class, it will look a little bit differently, because you guys will be completing 2 summative assessments. So you'll notice that the way that the course is set up is that for each of the topics that we go through, so as we talk about motivation, vocabulary, discourse, writing, that for each of those, you guys, the assignments that you're completing are very much formative assessments, which means that you get a chance to demonstrate your understanding of that topic, and then earn the points as long as you put in a good faith effort. And then I will provide feedback, especially if there's areas that maybe you're misunderstanding something, or the assignment could have been strengthened a little bit. Once you get to the last 4 weeks of the class, you are going to be completing the 2 major summative assessments, which are a literacy website and then a 1-week unit plan, or you could call it a learning segment. But that's where you are going to be demonstrating proficiency and showing that you know how to use the literacy strategies that we've learned throughout the course to choose appropriate strategies for your content area, demographic, and then create a unit plan using literacy strategies. So we'll get more into that. You're welcome. All the materials are already in there. So if you're already curious, what is this literacy website going to look like? You'll see that that's already available to you, so you can click into it at any time if you're curious. But we will spend more time talking about those 2 assessments closer to the end of the semester. But like I said, those will be the summative assessments, where then you'll be expected to really demonstrate more proficiency. So a couple of other things to mention about the course. You will want to look into the syllabus. Those of you who are face-to-face, we'll talk about this a little bit more when I see you this week. Those of you who are doing the online version of the class, before you start to engage with the material, you will want to make sure that you look through the syllabus. I'm not going to go through and read all of this to you, but you'll want to make sure that you are familiar with the course policies, the resources available to you, and things like that. So make sure that you take a look at the course policies so that you know what to expect throughout the course. One other resource to point out to you is that you'll see at the bottom of the page, especially for those of you who are math and music, you guys will have a little bit of a different schedule. I'm finishing those up now, so I will be posting those soon, and you can find those. I should have showed you that on the course syllabus page, that your reading schedule is a little bit different, other than still completing anything that says like view or review, like that TED Talk I showed you for week 1. And then in addition to that, there are sometimes those of you who are math and music are going to be reading out of the regular textbooks because your texts don't cover certain topics such as ESL. So you'll notice that anything that says, see Canvas for text, those can all be found on this page that says text for math and music education majors. And then also a resource for all of you, which I'll also reference as you guys are doing assignments. There'll be times where it will say, use a sample textbook. You can find your own or use one of the sample ones posted. And you will see that there's a page here where there are sample text for each of your content areas. That way, if you don't have access to a sample text or having a hard time finding one, you can use the resources that I have posted here. I think that's it for now. This is already a relatively long video. And as I said, I'll be posting weekly videos. That said, as you're looking through everything this first week, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask me if you have any questions. So I hope you have a great start to the semester, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you all as we start this first week together. Thanks.